Morning musings. Ah, Opa. Okay. Um, there we go. Good morning. Morning musings from the tiny little studio on this tiny little Greek island. It is Monday. We have what, November 4th today, and I've got my list. Goodness gracious, I've got my list of things to do. It's a long list for the day, which isn't going to get done completely, obviously. But, hey, it's on the list, which means that the things that don't get done today will get done tomorrow. And I like on Mondays to kind of pull together what I'm hoping to get done during the week. Can't always happen the way I hope it will, but generally speaking, uh, it does. So I have another YouTube video that I am still working on that I just need to edit and put it up and out. Hopefully by Wednesday, that will be taken care of. Again, on finding other ways of painting when you haven't got uh, when you haven't got the Belgian linen canvases to work on, when you haven't got all the beautiful materials. I mean, they're beautiful materials to work with, but if you're starting out painting, you don't need them. They are useless to beginner artists. If I'm taking that ballet kind of idea, it's like getting toe shoes for a toddler. They're useless. They're useless, and you will stumble through them, and just what's the point? And in this 30-day lemon challenge, we had Blanca, uh, who was painting on what she had in her home. So, cutting up cardboard from boxes, there's cereal boxes, there's all sorts of things that you can use. And since you're learning how to paint and you're doing studies, they're not going to go in a museum, right? I mean, the chances of that happening are so high, uh, that, I mean, I don't know. People do think that way because oil painting has that uh, has, has that stigma to it, and I want to get rid of that stigma, especially when you're starting out. And oil painting is a creative act that is for everyone. And everyone needs to have the materials and the ability to use oil paints whenever they want. And that's what I'm pushing for, just to kind of get rid of all the stigma around being an oil painter. I'm an artist. and, and yeah, you may be an artist. Definitely, we are all artists in my book, but you may be an excellent oil painter, high level, more power to you. Yes, obviously, you're going to be using the Belgian linen, uh, right? Or some other, you're going to be using quality paints, quality materials. The only thing that I am pretty stuck on is buying quality paints. And it's really not that expensive when you're using a limited palette. So it's it's not a great expense. Uh, you can buy a titanium white, you can buy a yellow, some kind of primary yellow, like a cad yellow, or if you can't, if you don't want to do the cadmiums, right? They have all sorts of hues, cad yellow hue, meaning that it's a mix of um, other colors, that other yellows that will create the same type of cadmium yellow. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough. And as a beginner, it's good enough. And a red and a blue. That's really all you need to get yourself started. And really, don't bother with anything else. Get a limited primary palette and mix your colors. You can mix anything, anything. You can get a burnt sienna type, a raw umber type. They won't be exactly the same as, the brands that you buy, but they'll be good enough and they will be useful to you as you're learning how to paint. So I'm applauding Blanca, who came through the lemon challenge and painted and painted along and really some uh, saw a lot of improvement in her work. She had never used oil paints before, and her very, very first lemon oil painting is really nice. It's spectacular. And you know what? She did it on cardboard, right? And it's got the little cracks in, and uh and it's lovely. It's lovely. I love even those little lines, those dents in the cardboard as part of the painting. It's really quite interesting and quite nice. So I'm hoping that Blanca, you keep especially that first one. I would put it up and use it as your marker for as you progress through painting and learning more about putting together an oil painting. And if by learning that you learn how to put together any painting. I mean, you see, I even did a watercolor, and, and it didn't turn out too bad. So the foundation is the same for all um, painting. It's basically the same. I think even in an abstract painting, that you're coming to it. If you have a foundation like this one, um, then even very creative abstract works uh, have that same diving board to to spring from, and well, that's, I mean, at least in the way that I think about all artwork, even the abstract or the contemporary style, or anything that you want to do that's more up in the uh, nondescript. You're not doing a realistic painting, you're doing a non-representational painting, but still, you have to know how the colors work together. You have to know uh, um, how to create some kind of depth, because abstract paintings can have great depth in it. It's not the same as going through a landscape, right? But there is still that sense of depth. You need to know how to do that. You need to know a little bit about composition, or a lot about composition, in order to create the essence of that contemporary or abstract or non-representational painting, uh, uh, to create interest, to pull the viewer's eye, to to make it interesting. And for me, all interest lies not in a balanced painting, but a slightly balanced imbalance that you have heard me talk about before, because we as human beings just love to have a little bit of discomfort. We need it, in fact, to a little bit of that imbalance, because we're always pushing to find balance, and then we find balance, but boy, it doesn't last very long, does it? We need to get back into the discomfort, whether it be a slight discomfort or a huge discomfort of imbalance, uh, so that we can start searching for that balance again. It just seems to be the human condition. And I think that's what works in all artwork, is that there is I'll talk about paintings because I don't know enough about ceramics and things like that. That I think, if you have a perfectly symmetrical pot that you have created, and the designs or the painting that you put on the pot, um, more often than not uh, is all around and is, in balance. Um, Although some of the ancient Greek pottery would have the design around, but then in one area would have a scene, or they would have one scene on one side and then maybe different scenes going around the ceramic pot, uh, depicting some god, one of the ancient gods or goddesses, and some kind of scene or whatever. So there was an imbalance in the design and painting of the pot. So maybe I'm wrong about that. You ceramists out there who know more can enlighten me. Please, please do. I am highly interested in that. But I think that idea of slightly, and it could be imperceptible imbalance, right? It could be so um, slight that, you look at it and you think, oh, that's a very balanced painting. But I think too much balance, when everything is in each spot and it's all, like worked up, if you do the rule of thirds, if everything lines up on those four cross points, boring. I, it won't shine. There won't be something about it that just shines or makes the viewer want to take hold and contribute to putting that painting together in their own minds and in their own way, right? As something that will attract them. And I just tend to think that we are more attracted to a tiny little bit of discord. We don't want a lot of it, but we like a little bit of it because we can go in and fix it. I'm not saying that's true for everyone, but it seems to be the general idea. I don't know. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. So, what have we got? 14 minutes already. My, babbling along. So this morning I am going to work on some notans and perhaps an underpainting for one of the Greek Christmas paintings that I am going to be working on. And I have an idea. There's this beautiful area called Zagoria, and they are these beautiful, beautiful villages on the western side of Greece near Ioannina. Um, I guess in English, yeah, I would say Ioannina. I actually don't know. So they have these beautiful, beautiful villages, little stone built homes of the the stones that they had there in that area. And oh my goodness, absolutely beautiful. And it's the mountains, it's snowy, it's very, very warm and cozy type area. And I'm going to look for reference photos. I have a few from my own travels there, but taken in the springtime or the summer, so not really a winter scene. So I'm gonna go look for that and ooh, see what happens, see what we can come up with. So that's on my mind. And some other online issues, looking to fix a few things. I have pulled away from Facebook and I'm thinking of, I haven't stopped using Facebook, but I have just kind of pulled away. Never really happy. I don't like Facebook very much. I'm actually looking for a place for community, and I have been in Discord for a different group. I find it interesting. I'm not quite sure yet. I really don't know how to use it, but apparently we can do group meetings. I think both audio and video. I still don't know. So if anybody knows about that. And then there's also this Google Meet place where I think we can do pretty much the same thing as like with Zoom. And so I'm just learning about other options. I think that's basically what I'm trying to do. Facebook may be the place for that. I think most people, especially us older folks, tend to gravitate towards Facebook. So I am very, very aware of that, and thinking that may be the reason if I stay with Facebook. Um, there are uh, things about the online world that I don't like very much. I like it here in YouTube. I'm still quite satisfied with the YouTube platform. Them not getting too much into my private life. They don't own everything, not yet, anyways. From what I understand, Instagram owns everything that you put up, and they can, take all of your information and give it to AI. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So, and Instagram and Facebook are basically the same thing. So, I mean, there are things that I am uncomfortable with because I grew up without all of this. I grew up with a sense of personal privacy, that we all had that. It was our inalienable right for our own personal privacy. And it's being thrown out the window. It just not a part of today's reality. And I really think that it ought to be um, part of today's reality. I mean, the only way to be private, to have any kind of actual privacy, is to not have any of this online things, no cell phones, nothing. Um, that's kind of a hard thing to do today. There are some of those out there who have gotten rid of everything, and oh boy, um, what a challenge in today's world. I don't have um, any need to do that kind of thing. But I really don't like the idea of AI. controlling everything about, my channel, what I put up here, who I am. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable for someone like me. I think us older people who grew up without any of this, who understood the idea that if you got a letter or a bill or something in the mail, that was yours. It was your privacy. Nobody was supposed to go in and open up your own personal letter, right? Uh, at least that's what was growing. That's what was happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota, while I was growing up, and here in Greece as well. If you got a letter, it was yours. Not even your mom or dad or your siblings. It was a breach of privacy when somebody just came in and opened your own letters. And gosh, that I just had a thought. This is my ADHD mind coming in. I just had a thought because yesterday I was watching a YouTube channel. Um, I forget his name. I forget his name, but basically he just sits there and people call in and then he talks to them about relation, they come with a problem in their relationship and he talks, right, and tells you what to do. So there was this woman who called in and said something, and I don't know this guy's name because I just happened across this video, and it was on this autoplay kind of thing. So I was watching a video before that. Can't remember what that one was either. I don't remember things like that because I was doing things and just listening. But anyways, this guy comes in. This woman is saying that there's problems with her husband and this and that, and about the cell phone, right? And that she had uh, um, uh, what's the word? She had gone into his cell phone to check messages to see what was going on, like if he had, a girlfriend or girlfriends or whatever, and a breach of privacy, right? And this guy happened to say, well, cell phones are, if you're in a healthy relationship, are open, right? Anybody, if there's either your cell phone or your partner's cell phone is open, right? You can just go in and open up your partner's cell phone, and there shouldn't be any kind of, um, you know, uh, um, it shouldn't be disrespectful. And I'm thinking, well, then back in my day, anybody could open up anybody's mail, and that would be just perfectly fine, in the family. But it wasn't, at least not in the families, not in our family, and not in the families that I knew. And it was a general thing that your mail was your mail and you got to open it and read it first. And then if you wanted to share it with a family, then you shared it with the family. So I don't know about that, right? That was just a thought that came into my mind while I was speaking about this. So that's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. So I don't like Facebook coming in or Instagram and just taking, just like everything that I do is just out there for anybody to take. And maybe with this whole AI thing, they're taking it anyways, whether I'm here on YouTube, whether I'm in Discord or in some other platform that, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I'm checking into all of that. I am. I'm checking into it. Uh so all right, you guys. Enough blabbing for today. Gone on to 25 minutes. Hope you're having a beautiful day. I actually didn't put the chat up. No wonder I keep looking down and going, nobody's here today. But somebody's probably here. Me and my goofiness in my tech world. Yeah. Uh, maybe not. Actually, nobody has kind of showed up here, so I don't see any messages, so I guess I am alone. I hope you're all sleeping, enjoying your Sunday nights and Monday mornings here on the European side, and I guess Monday evenings if we're on the on the eastern side in Asia, Australia. I have some friends down there as well. So, wishing you a beautiful, beautiful week. Be inspired, be creative, be you, create, paint, connect, and all will be beautiful. At least in my world, that's how it works. All right.